Hey guys, so I decided these are going to be my new videos where I'm just going to talk, I guess, until I start to feel okay. So honestly, I should probably take this gum out my mouth. Let me throw it. So that way, what's it called? Yeah, it'll get distracting because I will chew and chew and chew. But anyways, so let's talk today. Let's see, what do I want to talk about today? Let's talk about my eating disorders. And I do have a couple because sometimes I would go through phases where I have an eating disorder or I was eating that damn order. Anyways, so honestly, I've suffered with body image my whole life. And I think, should I get into it with you guys a little? Why not? Um, Honestly, I want to say we're going to get pretty deep pretty fast, okay? We're going to be like this. So I want to say my eating disorders and just my body image in general got really bad when I was about maybe 10 younger. And I want to say it got so bad because when I was that young, I was in elementary school, no older than fifth grade. I was actually younger than that. Um, I went through SA and the I'm not gonna say any essay is worse than the other because honestly, everybody kind of handles it differently. Everybody kind of just everything differently. Like your brain kind of takes it in the way it takes it in. So like, but mine was I was R-worded. I don't really want to say the word because I feel like saying the word kind of makes it more real even though it happened and I know it's real. Like I don't know, I haven't gone through that in therapy. But so when these things would happen to me, um it happened more than once, more than one person. Um and it's just a lot, honestly. I went through a lot, I'm not gonna lie. But during specific ones, while this was happening to me, this person, honestly, I feel really guilty because it happened to me just because my body would freeze and I couldn't move. I couldn't open my eyes. Like, it was really bad. And I just want you to know if you went through like that same thing where you couldn't really not process what was happening, but you were like in flight. I think that's called flight mode. If you were in that mode, like, I just want you to know that I totally validate your feelings and it's not your fault. It was never your fault. That should have never happened to you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But that's how I would get. And honestly, when these things were happening to me, this person would say very ugly things about my body. And I feel like that's where my body image issues came in and everything. Because for as long as I can remember, I've never liked myself. I've never liked my face. I've never liked my body, like anything about me. I hated my voice. So me talking and making this video, it's so crazy to me that I'm able to talk and do this stuff now. But I hated everything about myself. And yeah, so I think that's where my body image issues came in. Um, from very, very young, I suffered with bulimia. I was bulimic. And I will say I haven't healed from that yet. I mean, I do have kind of episodes where I still kind of go through that. Um, Honestly, I also suffer with binge eating. And let's talk about the binge eating and the bulimia first because I suffer with all three. So it's kind of like complicated, I guess. So the binge eating, I feel like that came in when I was really young. I feel like I used to eat just because it didn't make me feel better about myself. Just in that moment, it's like everything would just go quiet when I was binging. Everything would just go quiet and like it's like the whole world like would stop and I was just like eating in that moment and I guess it kind of made me feel better. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of the answer. And obviously that wasn't the answer, it was just kind of a coping mechanism. And afterwards, I would feel very, very ugly about myself. I couldn't believe I had just done that. And then for a while, that's all I would do. I was just binging and binging and binging and binging. And obviously, that's not the best thing to do for you or your body. But when, like, your mind, like, I don't know, when your mind's like that and stuff, that's not what you're thinking of. You're not thinking of, like, oh my gosh, like, this isn't good for my body. It's kind of just like, it's a temporary solution for what's going on in your mind. So it's just like a temporary solution for a, I guess, a long-term problem. Wait, yeah, yeah, right? Yeah, okay, I think that's how I meant to explain it. But yeah, it was just a temporary solution because afterwards I would feel so yucky about myself. I felt like I was so worthless and like I didn't deserve to eat ever again. But then like I would start to feel bad again and it would cause me to binge more. And it was like the worst thing ever. Um, like oh my gosh. Like like if you have binge eating disorder, like and you've overcome it, I completely salute you because I still struggle with it. And honestly, even if you haven't overcome it and you've accepted that you have it, I salute you too because it took me forever to realize what I was doing. And yeah, so after the binge was over, I kind of would just sometimes I would go to my room. This is before the bulimia started, so I would go to my room and I really would just like start to find all these damn different workouts because I was just like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna burn this off? And I really didn't start this process of it all until I was like in seventh grade. No, sixth grade actually, when I started to realize that boys don't like you unless you're skinny and pretty. And I felt like I wasn't pretty, so I had to be skinny. And honestly, never change for a guy ever, ever, ever. You should never, ever change for a guy. Like, he has to change for you, girl. Promise. Just kidding, but honestly, never change for anybody. That's all I can say. But anyways, I am saying that while like I'm telling you guys all the different ways I wanted to change myself. Hypocrite much? No, just kidding. We all grow. So anyways, so that as that went on, when I started to realize that people don't like you, people don't really befriend you unless you're like pretty, skinny, popular, like whatever. I feel like my body image issues got even worse because then I started after I would binge, I started to find different workouts and I would go crazy with them. And then I realized these workouts weren't working because I was eating way too many fucking calories. Like I was eating my whole damn fridge. Um, Once I realized that, one day I honestly just used my fingers and I purged for the first time ever. And I feel like that has been my long-term battle. Like, I have not been able to overcome that battle, and I hope one day I do. But I have not been able to overcome that battle just because if I binge, I feel so badly about myself that I just can't even look at myself in the mirror. Then I would purge and I would look at myself and like in some way it made me feel better. It made me feel like, oh my gosh, you did not just eat all that. Like it's all gone now. And it got so bad to the point where I would binge, weigh myself, purge, then weigh myself again until I got back to the until I got back to the pre-binge weight. And I did that for a very long time. And it honestly made me feel a little better about myself. Should it have? Honestly, probably not. But it made me feel better about myself. And it sucks to say, but I still struggle with that till today. Um, Honestly, my latest binge and purge was a couple hours ago, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I do want to get better. But I do need to seek therapy, obviously. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, I'm not gonna seek therapy. I'll get over it on my own. I do need to seek therapy for sure. But that's another battle on its own. Yeah, like I don't know. But anyways, so I feel like that, like right now I'm suffering with it just because I'm stressed. Um, I'm not freshly postpartum. I'm 3 months postpartum, and I just feel so stressed. I feel so depressed, and like I guess I don't want to use this as excuses, but it causes me to binge sometimes. Or sometimes I'm just like so hungry, and it's like the hunger doesn't go away, and I could just eat and eat and eat, and I don't feel better until I purge, sadly. But yeah, so that's kind of where I am right now. But I also have suffered with anorexia, and it got really bad after I moved out and I lived on my own. Well, I lived with my boyfriend, but we lived on our own. And I feel like, honestly, I have so much trauma from my childhood. I just have so much trauma in general that I hope to talk about one day. Just to, like, if you've gone through the same thing, just to make people feel better. That's honestly why I talk about my trauma and stuff, just in case people can relate. And, like, let's say they think that nobody in the world has gone through it, or like nobody would understand. I just want you guys to know, if you've been through the same, I understand you, I see you, I feel you, and I'm here for you, honestly. But so it's oh, sorry, I just like stuttered. I'm not gonna edit this, so you guys are kind of seeing the raw kind of thing. um so I moved out, and I kind of wasn't going through those stressful things anymore, and I was kind of like very chilled out and everything. And the beginning of when I moved out, I did suffer with the binge eating and the purging. But as time went on, I guess I didn't have as many stressful things happening, and my body and my mind were kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happening? Like, why are you so chill? Why are you so calm? And it was just a really weird feeling. And I got very depressed. Like, I got very depressed because there was no stressful things happening in my life. It was like everything finally calmed down, like the storm finally passed. And that depression, honestly, led to me not eating. I wouldn't get hungry. And then I would feel, when I did start to get hungry, I would feel the growling in my stomach, and it would make me feel better. So as it made me feel better, it was like, I don't want to eat. And I saw my weight dropping so rapidly that I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm finally getting my dream body. Like, I need to continue this. And I continued and continued and continued and continued up until I got pregnant, honestly. When I got pregnant, I knew I had to eat. And honestly, then when I got pregnant, I started suffering so badly with body image issues because I was eating, and then I hadn't eaten like a good meal for so long, and I hadn't eaten like the way I was supposed to in so long. When I started to get the taste of these foods that I had missed so much, I just couldn't stop. It was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I want more, I want more, I want more. And I kept giving myself more and more and more and more, and I just couldn't stop. So most of my pregnancy, I will say, I feel like I binge ate. Is that how you say it? I binge ate. And I didn't purge though because I knew it would harm my baby, and I couldn't do that to my baby. Because she was just a life I decided to have in me, and I could not do that to her. So I didn't purge at all during my pregnancy. I gained like 60 pounds. Not gonna lie, I gained 60 pounds during my pregnancy. And I feel like I ate so much during my pregnancy that I kind of realized how much I needed food. that now that I'm trying to cut down on eating, I'm suffering with binge eating so badly. And it's just like, I don't know. There's like also this thing in me that's like, I want to eat all this food because one day it's not going to be there. And I feel like that came from my childhood because there were times where we would have to just eat beans because we didn't have groceries. And that I feel like that's kind of where the binge eating came from too because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to finish all this food because then it's not gonna be here like in a couple days, in a couple weeks. Like it's gonna be gone, and then I'm gonna be stuck eating just beans again. Which I feel like that kind of contributed to it. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was just like crazy. So now that I'm at my weight that I'm at, sorry, I didn't pick my nose, I scratched it. Now that I'm at this weight, like it makes me feel depressed, and I know that makes me sound so superficial. I promise you, I know, but it's just like I don't know, like body image and just my body in general. Like I have to be skinny to feel pretty. But like I see all these other people, I'm like they're so beautiful. Everybody's so beautiful. Like, why can't I see myself in that way? No matter their shape or size, how they look, I think everybody's beautiful, but I just could never think that about myself, no matter how I looked. Like, no matter how much weight I lost, I always thought I was still, like, pretty ugly, unless I had heavy amounts of makeup on. And I just wish I could see myself the way I see everybody else, because I think everybody else is so beautiful and, like, in their own way also. But I just could never think that way about myself, and that's what sucks, and that's what I wish I could change. But yeah, like, I think it's so crazy that, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, I guess I just hate myself, honestly, and I need to change that. I'll change it one day, but for, excuse me, for now, that's kind of how I feel about myself, and maybe one day it'll change. Maybe one day I'll come back to this video and be like, oh my gosh, I love myself now. Like, this is so crazy. I love myself. But yeah, that's kind of my little talk. That was my little talk with you guys today. It was kind of just about eating disorders. If you feel like you're stuck in your eating disorder, honestly, just talk to somebody. Try to reach out to somebody. Wait, let me tell you guys a story. One time I was in a mental health hospital, and this was the first time I ever opened up about my binge eating, my purging, and like anorexia in general. What's it called? This was the first time I ever really opened up about it, and they had me talk to a dietitian. Okay, and I thought she was kind of gonna help me figure out ways to like make myself feel fuller for longer, like kind of talk to me. But no, sorry guys, I think my baby's waking up. It's almost time to feed her. But no, you know what she told me? She goes, just close the fridge. You know what you're doing. And I told her like it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, it's that I pick up the plate and I begin to eat and everything kind of just zones out and I just want to eat and eat and eat. Like I can't stop myself. I physically like or mentally, maybe physically I can, but mentally I'm just so stuck in my head that I cannot stop myself. Like what don't you get about that? Like bitch, the fuck? But she's like, yeah, but you can stop yourself. You know what you're doing. You just have to stop yourself. And that's all she kept repeating. And I was like, bitch, what the fuck? If if like it worked that easily, I would be a skinny queen right now. I'd be a skinny legend. But yeah, I thought it was so crazy. I thought she was gonna give me like here are foods you can eat to make yourself feel fuller, like kind of give me tips and tricks and like but no, she didn't. And I was like, okay, this was a waste of my time. This is a waste of my insurance money. Yeah. So that's kind of like yeah, that I thought that was crazy, but fuck it, guys. Like fuck it, we ball. But yeah, if you guys came to my little talk, um, just some mentally struggling baddies out here. I love you guys so much, and yeah, like that's it. I think that's it for this talk. about 20 minutes. That's okay. If I talk too much, let me know. If I talk too little, let me fucking know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much. Until my next talk, I'll probably post another one tomorrow, honestly. But until my next talk, I love you guys so much. Bye.